would not say that the competencies you give to the learners are not acceptable in industry. But when they lead it, then they have no business to tell us that they are not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. John, we're going to ask you to close us out, and we're going to stay with this theme of sustainability. In your own work, you've always championed the idea that for something to last, everyone needs to be involved. We can't simply adopt a top-down approach. So in your view, what's the growth and sustainable model that allows all stakeholders to build and own this future together?
Let me ask the audience here. How many of you use Uber? Yeah? And how many of you use YouTube? Yep. How much do you pay for it? How comes we have not reached that stage in our education technology solutions where it is a platform that we are using, and it is not us as the users who are really bothered about paying for everything about it, but then it is a stakeholder ecosystem that sorts us out. This is what we studied. And this is what we are bringing on board, even in the policy framework. I want to invite you to, there's a stand here called Respect, and another one I think this side called Respect. Visit them and see the kind of platform that is being proposed there, a digital library of education resources that are present, that are accessible for open access, so to say, and that are benefiting education leaders, in that the education leadership has always worried itself about data that can assist them in making decisions. That we understand the sovereignty of data in Africa and in every country. We have those policies, we have those, what do you call them, protocols that we have signed into. And we are saying, let every Ministry of Education be able to get the data for its education sector so that it can help it to make decisions. But at the same time, be able to get counters that are going to help us in terms of helping the developers of those EdTech apps so that the learner then can consume it without having to cost for it, whether it is offline or online, or whether online comes at a certain time and then you don't get it again, then you're able to do it. And that's what you do with Uber. That's what you do with all these areas that are open access. This is the secret that we need to unpack. This is what we need to take in place so that we can be able to make EdTech work for us and not us working for it. Going to get heavy loans, to sort it out. We are working for it. Let it work for us so that we can reverse it. Supposing we go in that direction and we get so many of our developers specializing in that, competing because they are good, then we can easily see other people admiring that the same way they admired mobile money that is started from this continent. Thank you. That is the vision for growth and sustainability.
Thank you, panel. Please can we have a round of applause for our panel? I was looking for my Madam Program Director, Nenon, to see if we have time for one or two questions or if we need to wrap it up and allow colleagues to head out. Yeah? Okay. We've been given permission, colleagues. I'll take a first round of questions. I see one hand, I see two hands, oh, three. Okay, let's start with three, and then we can move on.
Thank you very much, honorable gentlemen, experts in EdTech. I was so amazed and thrilled with your wonderful presentation on the policy that has been put in place, giving Africa the opportunity to fully participate in the third industrial revolution. We missed the first two industrial revolutions. The third industrial revolution is happening with Africa fully active, and will be part of it. I am taking this opportunity to appraise the wonderful job that has been done. I happen to be one of those who contributed my ideas in the development of the policy. But there is something that emerged, the issue of connectivity. Africa is really going through a lot of difficulties as far as connectivity is concerned. And fortunately, one of the panelists mentioned Starlink as being one of the affordable solutions, which countries can benefit from that to widen access to connectivity at very reduced cost. But we have an issue. The problem which most African countries are facing is that governments are still blocking the space for Starlink to be used in their different territories. My question to the able gentleman who spoke about the use of Starlink is, what are some of the strategies that have been used in other countries to make government buy over this idea of using Starlink? We understand that with the proliferation of various learning technologies and all of the human beings no longer live in the physical space. Human beings live in both physical and the cyberspace. And of course, when we hear about the cyberspace, is one of those spaces that become very delicate in the present era, where you hear most of the problems in the world beginning with the cyberspace. It's very difficult for people to be attacked now physically. They're attacked in this cyberspace. And the reasons that most governments are advancing for not opening up their cyberspace is because the cyberspace has become very, very delicate in modern times. So I want to hear from the able gentleman who spoke about this. What are some of those solutions that have been put in place, and what are some of the strategies that have been used to protect the cyberspace and also to lure governments to buy in to the use of Starlink? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am Dr. Ndamburi from the Teachers Service Commission, Kenya. And I'm very grateful to see my boss, Mr. Kimotho. And I also listened to the presentation that the lady presented this morning. But as I came in, I found the question of the teacher in both the presentation coming out very pertinently in the two presentations. And what does that tell us? That the teacher is the core to make sure this works. Or when we say countries, in order for us to be able to make this policy work, the teacher is the center stage. But what we are doing now, we are concentrating a lot on handling the question of a teacher who has already qualified and is in the system, who lost it during the pre-service. I don't know if that happens in other countries. One of the things that I want to propose is that if we really want technology to work, can it be embedded in the pre-service curriculum? So that once it is embedded in the pre-service curriculum, every teacher that comes out has the basic knowledge. And from there, then we can begin doing what we are now calling firefighting to be able to build the teachers who are in the service. Because you find in the service today, the people who are teaching, they are aged. A number of them. I don't know if it is like that in other countries. So even if you try teaching them about technology, it's becoming very challenging. But if we can begin to embed that and it becomes like a compulsory aspect, every primary school teacher, every ECD teacher, every secondary school teacher, and teacher training college teacher, make sure they have got the skills we are talking about. We will be very sure we can handle that. Then the second component that we need to think about is after they have got the skills, do we have the digital content. I don't know if in other countries that they have developed digital content for early childhood or primary or secondary or even in the teacher training. Do we have the digital content? So that now when we talk about the aspect in the policy, then we need to be saying the ingredients of the policy need to answer to this. Thank you.
Once again, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I'm Pamisa from Mauritius. Thank you for the presentation and the respect presentation. That was really nice. We learned a lot. Thank you for naming Mauritius as the third out of the 5 top countries. I just wanted to correct, perhaps, we didn't give a laptop to the pupils of primary schools. We gave them a tablet. It was a very good one, very good quality. Okay, thank you. That's one thing to say. My question is, continued with the teacher training, do we have a curriculum which is as changeable as things are changing in the technology world? Number 2, if it is possible to have what we call academia and practitioners coming together in terms of research, in terms of what can be done in education, and equally what the status of AI in the digital curriculum or bringing about in the strategy. Because we've gone from one side to the other, from, as you said, from the, we had the presentations on slides, to now we're going for AI. So how do we figure in these within a strategy which we're working out? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to give the panel a chance just to answer. Dr. Poncelet, maybe I can direct you.
One.
Okay, one more, and then we're going to give the panel a chance.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Silas, also from the Teacher Service Commission, Kakamega. There is something that got my attention from Dr. I don't know whether it's John. Dan. Yes, Dan. When Dan was just thinking aloud and saying, is it possible that countries in Africa and beyond can be able to have a harmonized education system so that, like for example in Kenya, in the competence-based education, we teach the teachers to share with the learners the 7 core competencies, and we refer to them as the 21st century skills, which can be globally, acceptable. And is it possible we can have in your policy framework to have a harmonized education system so that when we meet here, we are talking at the same wavelength? I don't know. I just wonder. But I think that would be a very amazing development in the policy framework. Harmonized education system.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for those great questions. Dr. Poncelet, I'm going to start with you, the question of connectivity and strategies may be used in other countries. I'm happy to repeat it if you...
Okay, I got the question very well. One thing our governance forum in Lillestrøm, Norway, we had summits on in society, which the UN General Assembly will look at digital divides, which the ITU has been looking for a lot of formulas. But we all know what has affected the continent has been this last microritarian. Like, if we are really thinking of how we're going to reach out to the marginalized communities, we have to be able to use certain technology that have been proven to be affordable, that has brought down the cost of connectivity for the average person, and that is what we have to do. Another thing within this WSIS framework, a community can come together, work with a local telco and ISP, by having a school-based community network that in the evening, even in the informal sector, it can be used for teacher training, to train people in TVET education on digital skills. So it is very important. We have to come as stakeholders, but things have already been put in place. You talked about cyber security within the protection of cyberspace. We all know we have the Malabo Convention, our own version of the General Data GDPR of the European Union. The big countries have not done that. South Africa, Ethiopia, Nigeria have not done that. So, but there's work, NEPAD, working with a lot of agencies, are trying to make even people develop their own local one that they're comfortable with. There are ways to go, I believe, with the United Nations Global Digital Compact, with the WSIS review. We are going to hear from the General Assembly. I think there's a pathway for us to achieve connectivity, especially for this continent that we are still below 40%. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ponsela. John, maybe I can pass the next question to you on teacher empowerment. Specifically, if we want tech to work, both from the curriculum perspective, but also from a content perspective, digital content.
Yeah, the teacher issues will be handled by Dr. Dan, but let's all know that connectivity is a challenge, but then we are overcoming it one step at a time. Yes, 2G, 3G, all that, we are overcoming it one step at a time, and we need to overcome it because digital rights is a human right.
Thank you. My colleague from the teacher union, thank you very much. I think we are speaking the same language. One of the things that we have found during our research was that the teachers are aging, actually. And there was one university that the youngest lecturer in mathematics is 60 years old. So the youngest lecturer in mathematics is 60 years old. Most of the lecturers or most of the learners do not want to go into mathematics and physics. They are moving more into the humanities. And therefore, we are getting shortage of teachers in those areas. And that has also made it extremely difficult. The second aspect is that you did talk about the pre-service and then the in-service, which is very good. Because if you don't get the pre-service right, then you use the word, you start with the firefighting, because now you have to get them to do that thing. So the pre-service education, the curriculum has to be reviewed. How many of us are in curriculum development here? Please, let me see. How many of us are in curriculum development? Good. So, how many years do you review your curriculum? 5. And have you been able to do it? It's on its way. Okay. So that's one of the challenges we are having. Every 5 years, under normal circumstances, the curriculum had to be reviewed and updated. When it comes even to the science and the ICT, we are talking about 2 to 3 years. However, by the time you start the process of updating the curriculum, the 2 years had passed, and you start the process again, because the ministry don't have the money to put the experts together to do the review. And teachers union, please, if you can also help us, that the teachers should tell us that, look, the curriculum we are using is outdated. We need to update it to be able to meet the challenges of the time. So we agree with you. We are saying the in-service training is fine, but the pre-service should. However, if you're able to include the digital skills in the basic education, we start with the basic. By the time you get to the training colleges or colleges of education, they already have the digital skills and they upgrade it. So we would, and we have included it, and we will review our write-up on those ones to include these discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and sorry, yes. The last thing is that the curriculum is standard-based. So we made sure that it's standard-based, everybody have the same standard that can be used. So the standard-based curriculum is part of the policy that we are working on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dan, for answering the last one. We had one more question. I'm putting it to the panel on changeability of curriculum.
Like when you look at AI, there's a lot of, one of the things within the World Summit on Information Society that was discussed in July, and also at the Internet Governance Forum where I work on the policy network on artificial intelligence, is that AI is here to stay. The good thing is that we have a document. Our United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, created a UN high-level panel on artificial intelligence with people from several sectors and background. And they came out with this Governing AI for Humanity document. So I will tell you to check out that document, and it covers a lot of the aspects we are talking. So there's a governing document, and what people are more concerned about is not really the standard, it's more about the ethics. So you should Google that document, Google UN document on governing AI for humanity. It's a very brilliant document.
Additionally, there's also another document called Guidance Note on artificial intelligence for foundational learning from the World Bank and Tech Group. You can also look at that. It gives us guidance on how to put AI in basic education.
I forgot one statement. Last July, the African Union, we have our own African Union Continental AI strategy that was adopted in Accra. That mirrors also the governing AI for humanity. It's very similar to the European Union AI Act, you know. So we have to look at, as Dr. Barbara said, we cannot just be rolling out these policies and strategies. We have to implement them. Several countries like Kenya, like Mauritius was the first country to Rwanda have already adopted their own local AI strategy. But it's good we look at it from a continental point of view, because that is when we can, I always tell people, when we look, if the African Union can do what the EU does, speaking with one voice, we will achieve a lot within education. Thank you.
Please come find them. And, I have a loud voice. Please come find them and ask questions. You can find them at the Respect booth at Outer Nepad. We're going to be closing the session. Please, can I also ask at the end of this, the Outer Nepad team stay behind for a photo? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. One more round of applause, please.
Thank you. Okay, one more round of applause, please. Thank you very much. So we are wrapping up, and I just wanted to note that we are blessed with not just one minister, but 3 ministers in the room. I think Gambia has stepped out, but we just wanted to hear, I believe 3 ministers, I hope I'm not mistaken. We just wanted to hear closing remarks from the honorable ministers that are present. From, I'm starting with Honorable Minister from Eswatini. What has been your perspective about this? Are you aligned with what we are talking about, respect and all these things, and you think these are opportunities for your country?
It's very good. We are getting there. Even Eswatini have already started this technology by providing the gadgets, putting the stationery on the gadgets. So it's a good way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Even though you're not Honorable Minister, I know that you're representing Honorable Cisco, so we just wanted to hear from Liberia's perspective.
Thank you so much for this great conference. It's an eye-opening to us. As we have just started our STR policy development, it's going to give us more information on how to have an aligned policy activity. But one of the things I'm so much concerned about, especially when it comes to the continent of Africa, maybe the governance structure when it comes to SCR governance. Most of the time in our various countries, I don't know about the other country, but for Liberia, especially when we are so much donor dependent, funding is a gap that we cannot perform. We found out that when government changes, agenda change. And you don't have policy, you can't track what you have done. People are working, but you can't track it. And the policy is there, but you talk, when this morning you talk about not writing anymore, but implementation. What advice can you give to African countries to be more focused? Because somebody will just come and bring project. Because you're hungry for donor partnership, you grab it, and not even going with the agenda that you have. At the end of the day, when that project is over, sustainability become a problem. The next government are coming and bringing new problem, new program. So it's not that we are not doing something, we are doing something, but it's not sustainable. So I just want to say that we need to look at a more sustained program that will talk about harmonization of our implementation, then focus on it, and not just take anything that will not be sustainable for our countries. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you very much. I think this is an excellent point, and it resonates with why we are looking at frameworks like RESPECT, such that you have a portfolio of the various technologies that are coming in, and you don't have to have new projects, jumping ship to new projects as and when it comes. So we are very much appreciative that you are reflecting this. We have in the room Honorable Prof. Chomra, who is leading the African Union Science, Technology, Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation Committee. And so I hope that you're receiving the perspectives from AU member states that will be fed into your next meeting with the ministers across the continent on what are some of the things we should be doing to have sustainable EdTech approaches. I don't know if there's a representative from South Africa that would speak to what your perspectives are. Not. Who would take the bullet for South Africa? Sorry. Mozambique. Okay. Okay, so South Africa, I know you're in the room, so who's going to speak on your behalf? No? No lead of delegation for South Africa? Okay. So Mozambique? Mozambique? Oh, language, yeah. Let's try.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think this experience is good for Mozambique to implementation because there we have more challenge for this one. But we learn about this presentation. It's more information important for us. We go to implementation something. Okay.
Thank you very much. Ghana, yes, Ghana. The briefest remarks. Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. So we have a big team. My name is Professor Smile GC from Ghana Education Service and also representing Ministry of Education. We are taking a lot of concrete steps to be able to advance our implementation of our EdTech policy. We've just finished reviewing it. And also we are reviewing our strategic plan so that we can have actionable plans to make sure that we really take, especially building of the capacity of our teachers in this particular area so that they can be able to implement it and also impart that knowledge to our students as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ghana. I don't know if the Honorable Minister from Gambia is back. No. Okay. Is there a country that I've missed? Sorry. Cameroon, yes. And Sierra Leone, okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Professor Michael Nkwenti. I'm the lead inspector responsible for rolling out ICTs in Cameroon Ministry of Basic Education. And also a professor of instructional science and educational technology at Higher Teacher Training College. So far in Cameroon, we had, in the Ministry of Basic Education, we had our first ICT policy put in place in 2007. And we had to review it in 2021 following the experiences we gathered from COVID. And presently, we're trying to roll out the policy. But the major challenge that aligns with some of the findings which our respectable team of experts working for the African vision, working for the African implementation policy, which was presented a while ago, also outlined, is the issue of funding. Funding remains a major issue. And of course, if you did hear me speak about issue of connectivity, connectivity is also a serious problem, especially in rural communities. And of course, Cameroon is one of those countries that has not yet embraced Starlink. And however, I'm aware that some conversations are going up in this area. And my participation in forums like this is to look at some of those strategies that have been used in other countries to motivate government to buy over the idea of allowing Starlink be function in the country. And of course, like I said, the reason they've been advancing is the reason of vulnerability of the cyberspace. And that is very critical. And of course, countries are taking a lot of care. And of course, we are really looking out for those points, those ideas that we need to use to convince the government to buy over this, because like I said, we missed first industrial revolution, we missed the second industrial revolution, the third industrial and the fourth industrial revolution is happening when Africa has awakened. And it is very important that we actually be part of this. And in order to be part of this, we need to have a solid backbone infrastructure. Connectivity is key. If not, the AI era in which we find ourselves today probably is going to leave us behind. We have spent a lot of time consuming content from other countries and all of that. I think it's time for Africa to stand up. And we are in full support of the implementation, the new strategy, African Vision Strategy that has been presented. And it is I want to seize this opportunity to encourage different countries of the continent to buy in, and that African Union should do everything possible to ensure that it is fully implemented, monitored, evaluated, and what is not working be fixed within the time frame so that we are able to meet up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before I call on our Honorable Minister from the Gambia, I would have Sierra Leone give their remarks, and then since I'm standing between you and lunch, and then we have the closing comments from the Gambia. Yes, so he'll be the last to speak.
Yes. Thank you very much. My sister here, she's working at the ministry. I'm an adjunct to the ministry, but I just want to say a few words in that this is anecdotal. There was a 3-year-old girl who told her grandmother that she wanted a tablet for her birthday because the grandma said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she said, "I'd like a tablet." Then the grandmother said, "But you're not ill." Then the girl said, "Oh, grandma," you know. Well, the moral behind the story is that if a 3-year-old girl is asking for a tablet, when that girl turns to a teenager, if the teachers are not prepared to handle that, then we're in trouble. Yes. We're really, so there's a feeling of urgency for teacher training, because when they get to that stage, teachers would now need to do some magical something if they are not prepared for it. And that is why pedagogy is gradually changing from being the sage on the stage to being somebody at the side of the students, guiding them where to find knowledge. But let me hand over to my sister.
So, to just build on that story of having teachers getting ready for the future, we had a review of the curriculum for basic education about 2 years ago, and some aspect of EdTech was infused into that. But then that has actually hit a rock because there are no teachers at that level to teach some of the modules that have been developed. So teacher competency development is very important at that level. And then what affects connectivity mainly, talking from my own experience, is energy. We have a lot of problems with energy. I mean, maybe for the urban areas, but as you go away from the urban areas, energy becomes a problem, and that, of course, affects connectivity. And so I think there has to be the political willingness to invest more in energy, and that can actually now reflect on connectivity. And then, like my sister said, continuity in policy. We have to have that. And whatever AU did to have the foundational learning to actually thrive across the countries, I think you also have to do it for EdTech, because we see foundational learning has taken the root in all the countries, and we are working on that. Even with that, we still have teacher problems. But then that's one we are trying to cope with the teachers. But then for this EdTech to actually take root, then you have to monitor to see that all member countries actually comply and try to implement it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So once the Honorable Minister from the Gambia speaks, no one else speaks. So just by show of hands, how many of you here knew nothing about respect but will be keen to have your countries adopt the respect framework that we can reach out to you? So we have Sierra Leone, okay, Ghana. Yeah, Ghana has started. Any other countries that are interested in respect? Mauritius, the Gambia. Okay, so I hope the rapporteurs are taking notes for the new countries.
What I'm thinking is, because we are having the second workshop,
Great. Okay, so now we have our Honorable Minister to give us our closing remarks and then we end. Oh. Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barbara. Sorry, I had to step out. I received a call from Banjul, so far from home, but still present. Want to thank you and the rest of the co-organizers and the panelists for the brilliant presentation. For us, this comes at the right time. We are in the process of now reviewing our STI policy, and in that process we will be integrating a lot of AI and its issues within the education fraternity, number one. Number two, it's coming at a time when we have upgraded our College of Education called Gambia College now into University of Education, merging them with the University of the Gambia School of Education and having one entity, public entity from ECD to PhD on education. And for foundational learning to take place, the teacher component needs to be addressed. And then also the technology component, be able to address the challenges of the workforce of today and tomorrow. Obviously, technology is a tool that needs to be taken into consideration. And in our transformation agenda, we are trying to see how best we can incorporate all these facilities and tools to create the enabling environment to change the landscape, so that at the end of the day, education becomes functional, education becomes useful, in line with what Albert Einstein said, that education is what will remain when everything is no more. But then you cannot give what you don't have. And moving from theory to practice, people need to experiment what they are learning. And the best thing is for them to see, to practice it. And the technology component helps to bridge that gap. The youths of today are not using, and are not ready to listen to me taking full 2 hours of lectures, too theoretical, and so on and so forth. They need to see the practical aspect of it. And that will help them now respond to the needs and aspirations of the industry now, but then the jobs of tomorrow. How to create that synergy. And the AI and education technology is a component. We've taken note also of the efforts at continental level from your end. And I can assure you also that the Gambia, we will, from the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, we will send you our review of it and see how best we can continue working with you and other partners to ensure that at the end of the day, we signpost our higher education ecosystem for it to respond to our needs and also be able to give hope. Because the youth needs hope. It's Operation Restore Hope, but from an academic perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Barbara. for taking us through this session. Indeed, we will, the good book says, when you work, then you earn even to eat. So we are hungry. We have earned a session to take a healthy break. We will go to the big tent. That's where we will have our lunch. And at 2 o'clock, look for a place called the new dining hall. When you come to the new dining hall, we have our second pre-conference workshop, which will be starting at exactly 2. The countries that have not gotten a chance are the ones that are going to get a chance there. We believe we are all equal in Africa. I have tried to examine myself for the last few years, and I have found that I don't belong to any country, I belong to Africa. So we are all equal. Let us try as much as possible to embrace that equality, the policy, the vision, all together. Having earned lunch, and the host is here with me, so I'll let her do the announcement, and we meet at 2 o'clock in the new dining hall.
Thank you, Dr. Ari. Good afternoon. Yes, they call me Dr. Mary Sichangi, and I work here. I want to make 2 announcements. One is about a picture for the ministers that will be taken here immediately. Yes. And then secondly, about lunch, I would kindly request the ministers of education and the leaders of delegation to come with us for lunch next to the meeting room upstairs here. Just before the holding room, there's a room there where the ministers and the leaders of delegation will come with me for lunch. Everyone else, we will proceed for lunch to the mega tent on the other side. So before we break for lunch, I would request for the photo session for our ministers. I think ministers and leaders of delegation, please take the front. We take the photo briefly, and you are the same people who will follow me to the lunch up here. Everyone else is free to take lunch. Oh, kindly let me request you to sit for a moment. We were waiting for our PS to arrive, the PS Ministry of Education, Kenya. And since he's already here, we had said you will pause briefly. He says hello to you before you leave. Since he has arrived, we didn't know he had arrived. Kindly sit briefly. Very briefly. I know we are between you and lunch. Briefly, because he's a host. Kindly sit briefly. We will not take long. Thank you for understanding. We will even take the photo with him, so I think let him come. Yeah, since he's here. He's a host. Yes, yes. So he has allowed us. Let's take the photo and go for lunch. Come, we take the photo and then we go for lunch. You know, he's a host. He has guided. We proceed. Lead of delegation and the ministers. I think the ministers will be the middle. You face that way, ma'am? Yes. The ministers face that way. In the middle. And then on the side, we have the leaders of delegation. Yes. Yes.